Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Scentsy stage, Heidi and Orville Thompson.
Happy you're here, and we are so glad to be with you.
We cut it pretty close, didn't we? We returned from London just 2 weeks ago. Well, 2 weeks and a couple of days, and it has been an absolute whirlwind.
We've been able to connect with our children, our grandchildren, and even our cat Hobo.
And I forgot how much I hate
cat hair.
White cat hair.
I know.
But I'll get over it. We love Hobo.
We were particularly happy to spend time with Scentsy leaders last night. Yes. And we're very excited to be here with all of you.
A lot has happened during our time away, hasn't it? In fact, it would be impossible to overstate just how much has happened for us and for you.
Through it all, we have missed you. Sorry. We love you, and we are ready for Scentsy Sunshine. To us, Scentsy Spirit and Sunshine are one and the same. In all that we have experienced over the years, Scentsy has been one constant source of sunshine in a world that needs more and more light.
There was another time back in the early 2000s that didn't have much sunshine for us. I was running a sales organization of traveling salesmen who sold products that we represented at fairs and shows around the United States. Things that could be demonstrated. Products that slice and dice, don't crack, chip, or peel. Things you'd see on late night TV, like super chamois and Ginsu knives. Now, the biggest state fairs in the United States are in September. So the business was significantly impacted by the terrorist attacks on 9/11 in 2001.
We were $700,000 in debt. That's a lot. Orville worried that we would be forced into bankruptcy, but I refused to accept that.
Thank you, by the way.
Yes. With names like Heidi and Orville, people would have recognized us when they read our names in the paper. And maybe that's a little vain, but that was the case. So I told Orville that we were going to swing for the fence and swing really hard.
Now, we don't tell this part of the story very often, but Scentsy was not our first swing for the fence attempt.
One of the products that we sold was a car wax that Orville made, and it was called Carnauby. It was a very good wax, and it fell into the hands of Jerry Glanville at the time, he's a prominent sportscaster and former NFL football coach and race car driver.
So a friend of a friend got us together, and Jerry asked us to private label a wax for him, and together we produced an infomercial. And we spent our last available $60,000 on the infomercial for Glanville's race wax. We scoured the archives.
We
And we found the infomercial.
Dug deep.
Would you like to see a clip?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jerry Glanville, sports commentator, pro driver, former NFL coach, and a guy who doesn't mess around when it comes to his cars. So when it comes to car wax, there's only one name I trust, mine. Introducing Glanville Motorsports Race Wax. It's a supreme quality carnauba wax designed to my personal standards. Fast, tough, and oh so handsome. If you don't find my formula to be the best wax that you've ever used, well then first you're nuts. And second, I'll buy it back myself. Thank you.
Pretty good.
The full 2-minute version is in the museum if you want to see it there. I didn't think it was very bad. I should have done better.
I actually would have bought some after watching that. So, but I don't know if we can call it a complete failure, but it was our last $60,000, and we only got a $60 return. We only sold 3 bottles, so now we were completely broke financially. And that was a swing and a big miss.
Strike one.
Yeah. But our next swing was a base hit, so we were improving.
So that second swing actually came with the direct sale, or with the fair and show company that we had. In March of 2004, I went to the home show in Salt Lake City. It was one of my largest home shows, and we had 13 booths to pay for. But we had no money in the bank. We just spent it all on the infomercial. I told the show promoter, who had become my friend, Deborah Greenband, the check is in the mail, with my fingers crossed behind my back for at least 2 months before the show. When I arrived with all of my things and all the pitchmen coming in to set up, I went to Deborah and I gave her a check for $16,000. And I said, Deborah, don't cash it. It'll bounce. I don't have the money in the bank. But I promise you, if you let me set up for this booth or this show, I'll buy the check back with cash. And if I don't, there's clear fraud right there. And you've got me, dead to rights. So she liked me, I think, felt sorry for me a lot. And I really needed the favor, because we were at the end of our rope. And she agreed, and she even gave us an additional booth when someone didn't show up. Now, the only thing that I had to sell in that additional booth was a 64-in-1 video game controller that I had left over from the Christmas kiosks of the mall season a couple months before. So I hired my 13-year-old niece, Margot, and she sat in the booth and played video games. And we hoped we could sell as many of these controllers as we could.
Right across from that free booth, Colette Gunnell and Kara Egan set up their booth selling wickless candles and warmers. Their little company was called Scentsy. On a busy day, busy Saturday afternoon, Orville sat down on a bench at the end of the aisle between the 2 booths and was intrigued by the action of the Scentsy booth. Fortunately, Colette really wanted one of those video game controllers and took the opportunity to ask Orville for a trade.
Now, we did make a trade, and I brought home a warmer, 3 Scentsy bars, and a set of testers to Heidi.
I think we got the better trade.
Yeah. Although that video game controller might be worth a lot of money right now. And I don't know if we have one in the museum, and we'd really like one.
I didn't see it in there.
Now, the bars, do you know what the bars were? This might be a trivia question
I know.
sometime.
Do you know what they are?
Team meeting.
3 of them.
You might want
3 of them.
They were Sunkissed Citrus, Thunderstorm, and Banana Nut Bread.
Yep. Woo! I was so grateful that Orville brought me something that I liked, because most of the things that he would bring me from the home shows, I would just throw in a pile and they would gather dust in our garage. But Scentsy was different. The first fragrance I warmed was Banana Nut Bread, and Orville came in and thought that I was baking. So we got a good laugh out of that. The next day, I invited my mom and my sister to come over and get their opinion about Scentsy, and Orville had to leave. He came back 2 hours later, and we were still sitting there in the same spot, smelling testers, laughing, and sharing stories. And it was really fun and a really great memory.
I think we share that part of the story because we want you to know that our first experience with Scentsy was very similar to most of your first experience with Scentsy. In fact, I remember asking Colette when I first saw it, where's the wick? Yeah. And she had to explain to me the concept of a wickless candle. Now, at first, I was just trying to help Kara and Colette. I was hoping to help them avoid the debt problems that we were facing. And after we started talking a little bit about their business, I could see that their little startup was in trouble. After just a couple of weeks of working together, they asked me if we wanted to buy their business. Now, we didn't have any money, so we had to work out a deal. And we did work out a deal that has been wonderful for all of us.
It all happened so quickly. 6 weeks after meeting them for the first time, Orville and I drove to Utah to sign the paperwork and pick up the inventory. And that is how we became owners and stewards of Scentsy.
That's when we took this picture to commemorate our new venture. It's known as the handshake picture. Heidi talked about it during her 2017 Growth Mindset keynote, which I recommend to all of you.
This was before I had research direct selling, before Orville attended his first DSA meeting in New Orleans, where we used the last of our vouchers and a $25 per night Priceline hotel room. They don't even do that anymore, I don't think.
Too good of a deal.
So that he could attend. And it was before I got deeply involved in Scentsy. So as you can see, I'm really not even visible in that photo. And neither are Kara's husband, Troy, or Colette's husband, Greg, who have supported Scentsy from the very start.
We've had 20 incredible, unforgettable years, and we can't tell this story without recognizing Kara and Colette. Please join us in welcoming Kara and Troy Egan and Colette and Greg Gunnell to stage.
Oh, wait, we're supposed to get a photo. Yeah? It says, hold for a photo. Who's photoing us? Okay.
Okay, tell us where you want us to be.
Closer. Closer. Yeah, grab a mic. Oh, yeah.
Mike's here.
So they asked me to talk about what we think of all this, and I have to start by saying what I remember people saying to us. Don't start a candle company. They're a dime a dozen. That's not going to go anywhere. The majority of new businesses fail, so don't feel bad when nothing happens. Or enjoy the next year or two, because that's all that this is going to be. Well, I knew that I had received a ray of sunshine. And I was determined, as with Colette, that we were going to make this happen. And what I think is so awesome is that our story is your story. How many of you were told, no, don't do that. That's never going to work. But you had the determination to make it work. Good job.
That's awesome.
And I may have been the first one to try to discourage Kara. I remember we had been praying together to find ways to help our income. And she came to me one night and said, I just got my answer. We need to start a candle company. And I said, oh, Kara, I don't know. There's a lot of people selling candles. That's maybe not the way to go. And she said, no, this is different. This is very specific. And it was fun to see God's hand in that inspiration that Kara received and that she had the courage to act upon it. And it's been a blessing to see God's hand all 20 years.
I just wanted to thank Orville and Heidi, Troy and Kara and Colette. It's been an amazing experience. It's been an amazing journey. I've just been so grateful to be part of Scentsy. And I thank all of you. Thank you.
And just really quick, same, Orville and Heidi were born and meant to be in charge of Scentsy. They are my heroes. I love them so much. And I just want to thank each of you for being part of this amazing company and this awesome journey with us, and for believing in all of our little idea and making this what it is today. And I'm just so excited because, 20 years ago we were so tiny, and look at what we have accomplished together, right? It took every single one of us. And today, we get to decide, us in this room together, we get to decide where we go the next 20 years. And all of our kids are consultants now, all of my daughters, and I know their kids, and it's going on to the next generation, and I'm so excited for where we'll be 20 years from now, and I love all of you, and thank you to Orville and Heidi.
Thank you, Kara, Troy, Colette, and Greg.
For the spark that was the start of a new and very different life for us. Scentsy has brought so much hope, light. Oh, love you. Love you. Okay. We love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Troy mentioned God's hand, and I know.
We know
God's hand. God's hand was in every step of the way. Every step of the way.
We know our abilities.
Yeah.
And we know what Scensy's accomplished. The two don't match up.
No, not at all. Not at all.
There's a little more to tell. Between May 1st, when we did that handshake picture, and June 30th, think about that, a short period of time, we decided to make Scentsy a direct selling company. She convinced me to make Scentsy a direct selling company.
That was me.
And we convinced Deanie Morehouse to leave the company she was representing and help us launch. There she is, Deanie and Sean, thank you so much.
During that time, we found product suppliers, we created a compensation plan, a host rewards program, and an awards and incentives program, and a very basic policies and procedures manual. Most of the programs remain the same today. Yeah, that's pretty incredible, actually.
At the end of that 8-week period, we were ready to launch as a party plan company.
On July 1st, we drove to Utah for our launch meeting. And on the way, we realized we didn't have a mission statement. So we wrote it out in the car with our kids in the back seats. And like other things, it remains the same today as it was then. Turning Scentsy into a direct selling company was our third swing for the fence. This time, it was a home run because of all of you. Yeah. That home run would not have been possible without a few others who were instrumental in our early success. Kevin and Becky Priest.
So, when we first started, Heidi and I took no income. We took no income from that time we bought Scentsy, May 1st, until December of 2004 to December of 2007. So 3.5 years we worked Scentsy with no income. Even the team that Heidi was building, her commission checks, she wouldn't cash them. And only when we could afford it would we bring on employees. At first, the only people that would choose to work for us were family members of Kevin and Becky Priest and my nieces. So we call that phase of Scentsy the nieces and priests phase. Without you, Kevin and Becky, we couldn't have done it. Thank you. Oh,
It's you.
there are a few more very important people who bring immeasurable sunshine into our lives. They were with us every day from the start of Scentsy. Our children, Sarah, Mary, Emma, Owen, and Grace.
Sorry, I'm gonna get choked up. First few years, they spent a lot of time at Scentsy. First at the farm, and then in our few offices. They helped our tiny team label and sort. And we were so happy when we finally had room for a couple of couches for them to sleep on and some space for them to play.
Now they're all married, starting families of their own, and we could not be more proud of each one of them. Sarah and her husband Jacob, and Mary and her husband Chase with their 2 boys were not able to join us this week. And if you're watching online, we miss you.
Did you get them a link?
I asked for a link to be sent.
Okay.
I did my best.
We would love to reintroduce you to our children that are here this week. Our daughter Emma Bench helps run the home team, and her husband Easton is working in our corporate development office.
Our son Owen and his wife Mia recently graduated from college, magna cum laude, might I say. And they are both working on the product team at Scentsy.
And our youngest daughter, Grace Gubay, who was not quite 2 when we started Scentsy, is married and still at the university, or Utah State University. She is an intern on the marketing team this summer at Scentsy. Yeah. Her husband, Dylan, who is French, is also a student and waiting for his work visa so that he can start working at Scentsy too.
Picture.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Hey, look straight ahead.
Thank you. So you all grew up with a Scentsy life. It's nice to be together here on the Scentsy stage, isn't it?
We're so proud of all of you. And thanks for kicking off SFR with us.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you. What else?
That was a proper awkward family photo moment.
I know.
But we love you, and they are the fuel for us, aren't they?
Yeah.
Particularly the grandkids. That's the best
That's
thing ever.
the best. It is. It is.